Hello, my amazing artists. Today we are going to be working on creating a piece of a group work of art. We're going to be working in grades 1, 2, and 3 to create a big, colorful quilt. This work of art is inspired by the artist Libs Elliott. Everyone say that with me. We want to remember her name, Libs Elliott. Yes, let's take a look at some of her work. Libs Elliott is an artist who works with fabric. She sews the fabric together to create colorful quilts. Her quilts look very much the same, yet so different at the same time. Can you pick out and see what you think is the one thing that makes all her quilts look like she made them, that make them look so similar? Can you guess? If you thought triangles, you're correct. Libs uses right-angled triangles to create the squares of her quilt. Today, you're also going to be creating a quilt square using diagonals and right-angled triangles. Let's take a look at some examples from last year's quilt. Notice how each quilt square has a color theme. Each person will make a quilt square that has either a blue theme, a green theme, an orange theme, yellow, purple, or red. It depends on what table you sit at. But even though you have a limited color, that still means that you can make it really exciting and different. All these quilting squares have their own unique pattern. Let's take a look at how that all works. At your table, you're going to have a square piece of paper with your name, class, number stamp on the back. Please fill this out. We are going to have many, many hundreds of squares, and I don't want yours to get lost, so class is really important here. Once you've done that, flip your paper over. The first thing we're going to start with is a diagonal. There's 3 directions of lines: horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. So we have vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. So the first thing you're going to do is take your glue and apply a line from corner to corner. This is our diagonal, not from corner to side, but from corner to corner. Next, with the glue on your white paper, you're going to lay down a long strip of paper. This is your diagonal that I want every single person to start with. Once you've done that, you can begin adding some triangles. So at your table, you will have 2 different shapes of paper. You may have a perfect square piece of paper, but most of your papers may not be a square. They might be a rectangle or a strip. And I'm going to teach you how to make a perfect triangle from both shapes of paper, because we want our triangle to be able to fit right into the corner of our paper. So making a triangle from a perfect square is quite easy. You push one corner over to the other, fold it over to create a crease, and when you open it back up, you have a line where you can use to cut from corner to corner of your paper, creating a triangle. This triangle should fit right into the corner of your paper. We want all your triangles to fit in this type of way. With your rectangle, it's a little more difficult to get this perfect triangle because I can't fold corner to corner. So we first need to make a square. The way we make a square is folding a corner up to the top side of the shape. Once I've done that, I can cut off this extra part of my paper. Now that I open my paper up, I've created a perfect square. I know it's a perfect square because it will fit right into the corner of my white paper. With my perfect square, now I have already folded, but now I can cut down the middle of this shape to create my triangles. So that is how you create a triangle using both a perfect square and a rectangle. But now, boys and girls, let's learn a little bit about how to make your triangles smaller and smaller. With your triangle, fold it corner to corner along this long edge, crease, open, and cut. If I want to make it smaller again, I can fold it along the long side, crease, open, and cut. I can continue doing this until I've made smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller triangles. Let's see how small the triangle I can make. Now, even this little small triangle that I've made, if I put it into the corner of my paper, it is still a squared edge or the right angle triangle that I'm looking for. No matter how small you cut your triangle, using this folding and cutting technique, you're going to have your triangle to fit nicely in the corner. Now, the reason that I am making all of my triangles the same shape is because when I go to glue down my triangles, first, do a line of glue around the edge of your shape, place it onto your paper, but now I can begin layering my triangles on top of each other. Again, a line of glue around the edge. Notice how I'm not putting a big blob in the center. Even on this small one, I'm going to create a tiny triangle of glue. So I can begin layering my triangles on top of each other. Okay, boys and girls, today I am going to allow you to use diagonal lines, perfect squared triangles, but also you can just put on a square as well. So let's review one more time how we can make a triangle or a perfect square from a rectangular piece of paper. Fold that corner until this side touches the top side. Cut off the extra, and when you open it up, you have a perfect square. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this shape down here. Just a line of glue, a snake of glue around the outside of my shape. Flip it over and put it down onto your paper. If you've done this correctly, you should not see any glue sneaking out of the edge, and you shouldn't have any of your corners folding up from your paper. Okay, boys and girls, when you head to your table, the first thing you should of course do is write your name, class, and number. But then I want you to put a line of glue from corner to corner and place a long strip of paper that hangs off the edge. Speaking of these long strips of paper, you may feel tempted to cut these bits off. No. Please do not cut off the pieces on the very edge. The reason is because our glue is still wet, and we may have some trouble cutting it to be a perfect straight angle. So let's leave that for Mrs. Shorjan to do once she has let all of your works of art dry. So please leave all of these things hanging off the edge. Don't cut them off. Okay, boys and girls, let's head to your table and we may get started.